All right. Let's wait for the people to show up. Here they come. All right, guys. Let me know, those of you viewing either on our X, YouTube, or Facebook, how the sound is going. Make sure we got the mic placement right as people start showing up in all of our different platforms that we stream from. We promise we got a good show today. And we're going to be able to show you some things that maybe you haven't been able to catch on, or some things that you absolutely need to know about elected officials out there. All right. So I know it's a little late night, but we saw something that just had to it had to be addressed. So we made an emergency podcast to make sure that you guys are aware of the situation. One, and two, as we continue to get closer and closer to the elections coming up early next year, there's a lot of things that, I guess, for a lack of better words, that are going to transpire. They're going to be going on. You're going to see a lot of, I guess, what you can call it, a little bit of manipulation, a little bit of showmanship, and at the end of the day, it's probably just better said as the deception that occurs in our community by some of these elected officials that were voted in. And it's a disappointing thing because you have elected officials, right? We think that when people are running for office, we vote for them. If you do vote for whichever individual you voted for, you think of them as a good person, first of all, right? I don't think anybody out here in our community intentionally votes for bad people. The majority of our community, the ones who do run, a lot of them are not bad people. There is a few, don't get me wrong, but the problem is that when you go and vote, you sincerely think in your when you're doing your thought process of who you're going to vote, who you're going to support, um, who am I gonna be telling other people, hey, your family, your friends, go vote for this person, go vote for that person. You think in your head, or you want to think in your head that this person is a good person, male, female, what have you. You don't tell other people. It's like word of mouth. Whenever los tacos allá, they're awesome. Go try the tacos. Go try that torta over there. It's awesome. This new restaurant and everything. It's the same thing with these elected officials. It's somebody buys in, and then you have other people, by word of mouth, supporting, campaigning for, checking off a box for other people. Hey, help me with this person. This person's a good person, right? And I think for the majority of us out here in the community, you guys genuinely buy in to whatever that person is, whether they're genuinely a good person, or if they're not such a good person, right? So that's kind of the topic and theme that we're going out here because I saw some pretty bad stuff, and I'm not you guys that regularly view our podcast. You know, I don't do anything without a reason, right? For one, another thing is that sometimes things need to get addressed, especially when people are trying to get you to think one thing when it's absolutely not the truth. And I think that that's where, or what bothers me the most is when elected officials, because these are the people we're supposed to confine in, these are the people we're supposed to trust, right? You vote for somebody because you trust them. You trust them with our community. You trust them with the tax dollars that you have to pay. And when someone breaks that trust, it's something that has happened before. You know, maybe more often than not here in our community, which is somewhat disappointing. But it does happen. It happens, and it happens in a way where some people get away with it, and others, we catch on to that. And this was an issue that I had to come on to point something out. And you, again, you guys are the smartest crowd out here. If you guys are watching this, you guys want the truth. You guys absolutely want to know what's going on, and you guys don't want to be deceived. That's what we pride ourselves from any other podcast out there, or interviewer, or even news media, is that we talk straightforward. We don't mince anything. We don't filter anything. And when someone is incorrect, we call it out. When somebody's trying to deceive or put the wool or the veil over your guys' eyes, I think that somebody needs to step in and say something. Absolutely, somebody needs to step in and say something. And we're gonna go ahead and share with what we need to tell you guys, because it it's a sad thing. Look, if you guys watch, the bigger picture of politics and news, you guys have seen the way the national scale does things. And the national scale, of course, and this is what I always laugh about, is because people always try to say news should be biased, and I mean non-biased, right? Um, and anywhere you go, it's very hard to find anything like that. I don't think it exists, a non-biased news media. And if they tell you they're non-biased, I'll tell you 100% that they're lying to you in your face. And let me tell you why. Um, because there is news media, is not just here locally, but nationwide, statewide, region-wide news medias, that they can tell you they're non-biased, but they have their agendas, whether it's being liberal, being conservative, being for a specific uh, elected official, and it doesn't matter what the news media is, because the news media, it's media. Media was created to entertain and inform. Now, there's always two sides of every story. That I think everybody here can get that point, to where it's like a yin and yang. There's a little bit of bad in the good. There's a little bit of good in the bad, and there's always two sides of the story, and then the truth. There's never anything that is totally non-biased or neutral. But there is one thing that nationally, statewide, regional news media, they do and can manipulate how something comes out of their broadcast, of their live, and it could be shaped into a certain way. Now, a news media is always going to be a news media. They're there to um, disperse information and to entertain. I mean, I've never seen a news media, local, statewide, nationwide, not want viewers. They're gonna do whatever they need to get viewers. And I understand that. I understand that, viewers, you need viewers. If nobody's watching a news media or your podcast, I mean, that tells you all you need to know about that news media or podcast. But the way a news media portrays, or the way a elected official portrays themselves when it comes to it, that is the difference between what is right and what is wrong. Again, remember, there's the two sides of every story, and anything can be spun a certain way if the opportunity presents itself. And I think that that's exactly what touches what we're going to discuss, right? And it's unfortunate because you have elected officials that try to be straightforward with you and honest as much to their point, as honest as they can be, right? Telling you their truth and being upfront with people, and not disguising or not trying to trick you in any way, being deceptive. And there is a lot of deception that happens, and especially with elected officials, and when it comes to getting closer to election time, that is something that does happen. And it happens here in Maverick County, city of Eagle Pass. It does happen. It's not just something that it sticks to the nationwide coverage. It's something that does happen, and we see it every day. But the case that's going on right now, it's ridiculous, guys. I was seeing it over the weekend. We had a foundation and a group, a biker club, a biker group, the Jorge Maldonado Foundation. As many of you remember, he was a border patrol, Jorge Maldonado. Um, he tragically passed away. It was a sudden, and rest in peace. We wish the family well. Um, but it was something that happened sudden, right? And the way the family reacted and the way the family wanted to carry on his name, I think that any man would be honored, that's no longer here with us, to have their name carry on under a foundation that is doing great things in the community. And it doesn't matter where your politics lie in anything. It really doesn't. It matters what is a group doing positively for the community. And I think that should be the focus of anybody, especially an elected official. So you have this foundation that has done soup kitchens, that has fed those that need a little bit of extra on their tables. Um, just most recently with the toy distribution and bike giveaway that they had downtown on Main Street over the weekend on Saturday. We passed by there. We had unfortunately my family had other things that we needed to get done, so we had that day already booked for us. But we passed by and we saw the stage out there on Main Street and wondered, hey, well, what's going on, this and that. Later on, when we got to see social media, we were able to see, oh, okay, well, that's great. There's the Jorge Maldonado Foundation teamed up with I'm sorry, I don't know the bike company or the bike organization that was involved, but they were able to join forces and provide bikes, toys for our community. And that's something that, unfortunately, we live in a community. It's gotten better, but we do live in a low to moderate income community. more so out in the Maverick County area rather than in the city. But there is still some areas, some block groups within our community, the city of Eagle Pass, that is low to moderate income. And when I say low to moderate income, I mean, they don't make enough based on the federal set salary rates. So they might struggle a little bit with putting food on the table. They might struggle a little bit during these times in Christmas where they may not receive, have all the money in the world to get gifts. So I can definitely appreciate the foundation, the George Maldonado Foundation, and this biker club that actually came forward, strategically planned, picked out a date, worked something out with the city to borrow the stage or for the city to donate the stage for that one day. And then the purchase of, I think it was something like 80 bikes. It was a large number of bikes they had out there. Um, I'm not sure if it was 80. It was a large number of bikes. They had, what was it, like six, seven tables, several tables filled with toys. And these are things that are done in our community, not with something expected back in return. It's done out of the goodness of somebody's heart, or a group of people's heart, right? They do it to not receive the recognition, but to make a child's life better, to make an adult's life better, to make somebody that is struggling in the community uh, life a little bit better, their quality of life. Now, I'm not saying that they may have it all bad or a toy fixes everything or a bike does, but if you just kind of think a little bit and put yourself in those kind of shoes, remember when you were a little bit younger, how much you wanted a bike at one time or a certain toy, and you weren't able to get it, or for whatever reason, it makes a big difference. And I think that these type of organizations should be, one, celebrated, and two, respected for what they do in our community, because it's not anything where this organization, the Jorge Maldonado Foundation, or the biker club that participated, donated, and planned this toy drive that they had, or toy giveaway event that they had on Saturday. It wasn't anything that's simple to do. An event like that takes planning. It's complex. It takes coordination amongst different entities, all the people that and it wasn't just those two organizations. There was several others that donated stuff, and it takes a group effort, right? And what I see from mainly both of these organizations that got together to organize this was that they're really not, pushing anything to get recognition, to get credit, to, get a pat on the back, or they're not getting paid to do any of this. Again, it's something that comes from within you to say, hey, well, I want to benefit somebody else. I want to give to somebody else. And that's a thing that, it is what it is. They try to provide for the community to bridge the gap that we do have here in our community that's low to moderate income. Now, to have somebody step in to that and try to take credit without putting the actual legwork, without putting the time and effort, without donating. It's like, I'll be honest, I had nothing to do with that event. If I were to go show up at that event and start taking pictures with kids with bikes, Start, show up, pop alive, and be like, "Hey guys, look where I'm at. Take a picture of me. Look, I'm gonna go ahead and give this kid a bike." And it you got to be some type of special to think that that's right. Um, there was a lot of people that did put a lot of effort into this foundation, into this event. The bikers came down. The Jorge Maldonado Foundation put a lot of stuff together, got with the city, did this, and that, right? But we had a certain elected official that, from talking to several people, sources that were there, they weren't really involved with planning. They weren't really involved with donating toys or bikes, but they went to go do take an opportunity to do a photo op, to go take pictures, to look pretty on camera, to team up with one of the news medias to do a live stream and attempt to make it seem as if they were the ones that were getting their hands dirty, so to speak, and organizing this great event. And I think that that in itself should tell you who you're dealing with as far as an elected official. Again, I go back to the example of me. If I would pop up there, I didn't donate anything for that event. I did not plan that event. I didn't participate in any meetings to coordinate this event. Yet, if I were to show up, go live, right, which I'm a news media, okay, we can go live, but then attempt to prop myself up saying that, hey, I'm here, look at me, I'm here in this event, this is a great event, let me go take a picture, hey, I'm live streaming, look, I just gave away this bike to this little girl, this little boy, we're giving out these toys, we're doing this, we're doing that. Yet I did not have anything to do, or I did not support this foundation or this biker group in coordinating, organizing that event. I think that that would be, I mean, you guys can throw tomatoes at me all y'all want because it's deserved. I mean, it's incorrect. And all of us, we all grew up with a conservative Hispanic background. I say that. You guys have heard me say that many times before, is how we probably align a little bit better with the Republican Party, just based on our Hispanic conservative culture. Um, and that's how we are. We're humble people, and we're not out there, being flamboyant or trying to say, esto es mío, yo hice esto, mira lo que hago yo, right? And that's the thing that I think in this situation, it got really lost in translation, where Councilman Mario Garcia attempted to steal the thunder a little bit in Saturday's event for the kids. Yes, there was organizing, there was everything, but ultimately that was an event for the kids in our community. And I think that some of the stuff that you guys that I saw that was coming out on social media was a little bit disturbing. It was a little bit disturbing, and I think it was ultimately uncalled for, because there's nothing wrong with organizing. If you take credit for it, that's fine. I mean, you organized it, you did it, you were there, you planned, you donated, and there was a lot of organizations, there was a lot of individuals that were involved. But from what I have gathered and the discussions that I've had with several people, Councilman Garcia, City Councilman Mario Garcia, showed up at the event, and he's a city councilman. He can show up to any city sponsored event, city partnered event. That's not the issue. The issue comes when you put yourself in front of a live stream camera, forgetting the fact that there were other people that actually got their blood, sweat, and tears into this event, not to benefit themselves like a photo op benefited Councilman Mario Garcia, but they did it for the betterment of our community, to make the kids in our community happy. If you can make one child happy for giving them a toy that, maybe their parents unfortunately cannot provide for them, I mean, wouldn't that make your day? And I think that that was the intent behind the planning, the coordination, uh, the involvement of the city as well with these organizations to improve the quality of life for our residents and provide some of these kids that may be a little bit less fortunate a gift, a bike, a good time. And, it's just, it's crazy to think that somebody we would elect, somebody, because we elect people because we think that they are good people. We elect people because we want to believe that they are better than us. You know what? I can't serve in this capacity I can't be a city councilman, but I'm going to go vote for this guy because I think he's better. He can do a good job. And I'll tell you this much, I think that that's not the case when it comes to Councilman Mario Garcia, especially after the situation that unfolded this weekend. Many of you guys that have social media, have Facebook, you guys saw a live coming from Mario Garcia where he pretty much put the spotlight on himself, not on the actual event, but on himself as participating in the event. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with a city councilman uh, popping up at a city sponsored, city partnered event. That's what we want to see, right? As residents and as voters, taxpayers, is participation from the people that we elect in these community events. Now, that's one thing. Another thing is hijacking the media to prop yourself up and say, hey, look at me, I'm here. And if you go back and check in that news media, and the news media here is not the issue. I don't think that's the issue. That is their job, and the media is gonna do what their job is, right? They're gonna put the camera in front of the person that requests it. The fault here should be the person that is on camera, not carrying the camera, that is on the camera, and that knows very well their level of participation in this event. So they have a certain level, they know how much they really were there, how much time they actually did put in to the event that they are supposedly a part of, or are there to show, hey, look at me, I'm here. So he knows how much he participated. He knows if he donated toys. He knows what the type of level of involvement he had with this event from the start. Now, again, there's no issue with him being there, but taking away the spotlight from the people that are participating, the people that planned, the people that stayed up late at night making sure they had the most absolute the most number of toys that they could get from donations from their own pockets. Those are the people that should be celebrated, not somebody that shows up the day of the event, goes on a live stream, and in my opinion, tried to take credit for what was going on. And we're going to show you a little bit of what we're talking about. And the reason why we bring it up, again, politics season is coming up. We have a comment. Let's see what the comment says. The perfect example of individuals the city does not need, taking credit for something they didn't sweat on. Claudia Mayen said that, and she's absolutely right. I think that a lot of times people, you shouldn't take credit for things that you don't touch or you don't invest in. And I understand that a lot of elected officials are involved in many things, and that's great. I think the more elected officials, the more individuals, the more people we can get involved in community events or community, especially things like this toy giveaway, bike giveaway, and everything, the better things can come out. I think that more community involvement shows all around that people care, and it just makes events better. But to prop yourself up and make it seem like you were one of the ones there from day one, I think is very, it, it does not align with what a councilman or an elected official stands for. The thing is that there were people that were involved, and those people, they're not asking for credit. They're not asking to come out on a live and say me. And if you guys follow our podcast, we had that conversation in our cooked edition where there's too many I's out here. Too many people wanting to push their own agenda, promote their own selves to look good. And I've always been the type of person, it's like, you can say what you've accomplished, you can say what you do. There's nothing wrong with that. But the repeated push, the intent behind what you do is what ultimately, it's what shows, right? Um, we saw a city councilman, Mario Garcia, go on a live, go up and down the whole event, take a tour, and this and that. And, hey, that's great that he woke up that morning to go to the event. The only thing that was left a little bad taste in, not just in my mouth, but many others in the community that reached out to us. And that's why we had to make this podcast, because we felt the way you guys did. It's like, awkward, I mean, dude, do you, did you donate a toy? What effort did you put in there? And like I said, um, before I do and come out and say anything, it takes several people. 20 people can't be wrong. And everyone that we had spoke to that reached out to us on this situation were confused about what they saw on that news media. And again, I'm going to stress that what the news media said, or the involvement of the news media, that's just it's an accessory. It's not what's relevant here. What is relevant is a city councilman, one of our elected officials, attempting to steal the thunder from under those hardworking people that did something to provide a service, and not just any service. What I believe is the best service that you can provide anybody is putting a smile on child's face. We saw several kids there just smiling and so happy because they received a bike. And nowadays in our economy, those gifts, those bikes, they're not cheap. So somebody had to pay for that. And a comment that I received is that I want to know how much Councilman Mario Garcia donated for him to do an exclusive live that did not even consider to interview, bring up, or talk extensively with the actual people that put on this event or that donated to this event. From what I saw on this video, it seemed that Councilman Mario Garcia, and this is my opinion, let me know in the comments what your opinion is, but it seemed that he was attempting to look good in front of the community, especially after the earlier city council meeting that was had on a Tuesday, I believe, where the city councilman questioned our chief of police, Amy Gonzalez, about a resolution that she was presenting. This resolution was to support the city of Eagle Pass and the Eagle Pass Independent School District working together to work on school threats, which unfortunately has become a plague in our community. Now, I say unfortunately, but one thing we are fortunate about is that none of these threats have gotten anybody hurt, have gotten anybody killed, like in the issue that happened in Uvalde. And fortunately, it's like that. But it's unfortunate that we have to see a city submitting resolutions and attempting to get somewhere with the Eagle Pass Independent School District just for the safety of our children. Whenever I saw this resolution or even the video of the resolution, I thought, why do you have to have a resolution? These entities are supposed to be working together already. But many of you that see our podcast and have seen our news, you know that the Eagle Pass Independent School District is not willingly working with the City of Eagle Pass Police Department when it comes to these school threats. Now, when the safety of your children is involved, the more law enforcement agencies that you can have specifically on school threats, I would think it's the better. Why would the school district turn down the City of Eagle Pass Police Department to assist in these school threat investigations, in these school threat consequences? Why do they adamantly reject working directly with the City of Eagle Pass Police Department? Well, let me tell you, Councilman Mario Garcia, who is also the Eagle Pass Independent School District's food director, he's an employee of the Eagle Pass Independent School District. He is a director at the school district level, making a pretty big salary compared to our community's average salary. If you saw the video that we posted of the city council meeting, you will see the councilman questioning the chief of police, Amy Gonzalez. Do we know if what makes us think that the school district wants to work with us, referring to the city of Eagle Pass? And I think the chief of police had a great response when she said, we would hope the Eagle Pass Independent School District works with us when it comes to the safety of our children. And shout out to Chief Amy Gonzalez keeping her cool, because I mean, I know if I was there, I'd be a little bit upset because I have three kids in the school district, one that goes to college, and why would I not want every single damn law enforcement agency working on school threats to make sure that my kids are protected while they're trying to get an education? Now, many of you have commented that maybe he's just trying to save face after this happened in the city council meeting, and he's trying to parade over here in a live stream in one of the news medias to look a little bit better than he did in the council meeting. Because I'll tell you, in my opinion, he looked very bad saying that uh, or stating that comment that he did towards the chief of police, Amy Gonzalez. I couldn't believe a councilman actually said something like that. But then again, you think and say, well, where did this comment come from? Maybe it came from the fact that he's an Eagle Pass Independent School District employee, not just any employee, the food service director. So the thing is, what exactly were these motives? That's what we got to get thinking here, is that, what was behind the actions, one, at the city council meeting by Mario Garcia, the councilman, and two, what was the thought process? What was the intention? Because I can tell you what it looked from my end. Of course, you guys have your version of what you saw, and we'd appreciate you if you want to discuss this. Say it in the comments, right? But it seemed to me that he was trying to take credit for something he really wasn't involved in. Now, why would he want to take credit for something he wasn't really involved in? You have me there. We've had several comments of you guys reaching out to us saying, well, maybe he was just trying to save face. Maybe he was just trying to look good after what happened at the city council meeting. And I get that. I get that. For a city councilman or any elected official, you have your ups and downs about, you said something wrong, you said something right. It's a roller coaster. I could only imagine, especially when you're have that camera just straight on you. I mean, I've had it done to me with the podcast where people clip stuff, people take screenshots, try to make memes and stuff like that to try to keep me off of what I'm trying to do. But the reaction that you have to that is everything. It's everything. And when you go and try to put yourself in the spotlight, put yourself in front of everybody else that invested so much time, effort, resources into an event that is supposed to be for the children, for the kids, for the community, not for a councilman to look good. That's where the issue arises. Let's check out these comments. We have a couple. Carmen Costilla says he looked lost in the interview with EP Texan, didn't even know what to say about the event. Carmen, thank you for your comment. And I think that I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that that even shows you a little bit more as to how involved he really was with this event. I mean, if you're involved in something, you should be able to speak fairly fluently and articulately or articulate the event, what was behind it, who was involved, how it came about. And from what I saw, because I didn't see every single minute of the event, but I did see a good chunk. It was in a way kind of, how do I say this? You ever been in a situation where you talk to somebody and you ask them, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And they don't want to tell you no. So they try to explain, the bits and pieces that they may know, but you can tell right away that, you know, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. This girl has no idea what they're talking about. And I liken that situation to this one because, as far as I could tell, it seemed that he was not very familiar with what was happening at the event, what the structure of the event was, and he may not have been familiar with many of the things that happened that actually got this event to start up. Because when you have these types of events, it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of resources. It takes, money as well, coordination. You had to call the city, you had to make sure the stage was available. There's a lot of variables that go into planning and executing an event of this magnitude. Now, when you have somebody that's unable to explain articulately how this thing was put together, how was it structured, who was involved, and the man hours that go behind it. I can imagine the group that put it together probably had a couple of sleepless nights, double checking every box to make sure they did everything they could to make this community happy, to make this community come together, to make a child happy. Because at the end of the day, in Christmas time, that's what it's all about. uh, you know, Making sure our children feel the love, not just from their parents, not just, you know, from family, but from the community. And I think that these types of events really go a long way to make children feel secure and safe and loved. But when you have somebody trying to take away the credit from others that actually invested their time into bringing this event together, I mean, it's a whole nother level of disrespect, um, especially when it's a city councilman that many of us may have voted for, may have believed in, may have even thought that this is a good person. Now, I'm not saying that Mario Garcia is a bad person, but I don't know a good person that would try to do what he just did this past weekend at this toy giveaway event. I don't know many good people that would attempt to make the event about himself rather than the children. Now, if you guys saw the video, you saw a news media following him around, making him the central point of this event. Now, the central point shouldn't have been any one councilman. It should have been the children, should have been the event, should have been the community. But for some reason, that live stream that Councilman Mario Garcia conducted, it didn't come off that way. It came off to not only me, but several of you guys that contacted us said that that was wrong. It was wrong, and it was inappropriate to thrust yourself into the spotlight when you had minimal, if any, involvement with the foundation in putting together, donating bikes, donating those toys, the preparation that went into this event. Now, we've actually reached out to Councilman Mario Garcia to discuss his comments, to discuss the situation through a text message. Unfortunately, he did not respond. Here, guys, what we like to do is be professional and follow what we're supposed to do as news media journalists, whatever it is you want to call it. I don't even call myself any of those things anymore. Um, y'all can call whatever you want to call it. We just need to be able to give the opportunity for anybody to express themselves, especially when an article is written about them or about a situation that it may have another side on. So we reached out to Councilman Mario Garcia. We provided the article we wrote, where we had him, talking about the situation that happened at the city council meeting, where he says, "What makes you think the school district wants to participate in the resolution to protect our kids better?" And we asked him about it. We sent him the article and we said, "Do you want to provide any comment?" Because it's important, as anybody that's putting information out, whether, like I said, call yourself a news media, call yourself a journalist, call yourself an influencer, whatever it is you want to call yourself, the responsible thing to do is to provide, give opportunity to both sides of the comment, or both sides of the coin, the opportunity to comment what their truth is. And I think without receiving a response from Councilman Mario Garcia, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, especially when he was so readily available to speak and put himself in the forefront of this event and discuss, all of the situations that were happening, or the giveaways that were being given away, the toys. And, yet he's unable to provide comment to the situation that happened. We have a couple more comments. Oh, look, guys, we actually have another city councilman, Elias Diaz, on here. Let's see what he has to say on the issue. A resolution is a no-brainer. It was the bare minimum we could do to state our position publicly about how to approach these situations. His comments implied that the school district did not want to work with us. When pressed on it, he quickly retracted. My nephew goes to that school. I'm not going to gamble with our children. I'm most definitely not going to stay quiet knowing he could be affected. And I think that, thank you, Councilman. And I think that for any parent, that's exactly how they feel. Like I said, I mentioned to you, I'm a parent. I have three kids in this specific school district. I have one in college, and if there's any threats, whether it is being made in vain, it's just threats, or if it's an actual threat that that we need to be concerned about, I would hope the school district police. I would hope that the local city police. I would hope that the sheriffs. I would hope that the FBI. I would hope that the CIA. I would hope that Donald Trump, Obama, whoever, Joe Biden. I would hope that they would take this serious enough to come to the table, work together to resolve what we've been having here, the plague that we've been having in Eagle Pass, in our school district, of the series of threats that continue to be made. Now, it's not a laughing matter when you get a hit list or a kill list in one of these elementary schools. Not so far away in Uvalde, we had 19 die of a school shooting. Now, that there makes us vulnerable, and especially the way the Eagle Pass Independent School District has worked on these security threats, these school threats, trying to take it upon themselves, when we all know two heads are better than one, three heads are better than two, five heads are better than three. Now you're telling me the Eagle Pass ISD police. Now, I don't mean to bring any bad thoughts to them. They're a good force. Um, there's a lot of good men representing the Eagle Pass Independent School District Police. But why would you not want to work with the Eagle Pass Police Department? Why would you not want to work with the Maverick County Sheriff's Office? Why would you not want to work with the Texas Department of Public Safety? Bring them all in to ensure these threats do not happen, whether they're real or whether they're not a safety threat. Why would you not want to bring everybody in just to make absolute sure that our children in this community are safe? It just doesn't make sense to me. But then you have the comments from the city councilman, then he goes and turns around and makes a live about himself being at a toy drive. And then even after that, you have several people from his group, and we'll show you some of that right now in a little bit. You'll have some people from his group attempting to prop him up. And where is the thanks to the foundation that actually put the work in? Where is the thanks to the bikers that actually put the work in? No, you have some, for a lack of better words, a dumbass propping up another dumbass. And what's worse is one dumbass is not even from this community, propping up another dumbass that, because of the school district that he works for, the administration refuses to work diligently with the Eagle Pass Police Department and other surrounding law enforcement agencies, are putting our children in a vulnerable position when it comes to these school threats. Now, again, we made this video because we got a lot of calls, we got a lot of text messages, we got a lot of DMs talking about this situation, and they were confused as to why Councilman Mario Garcia was front and center. And people were calling us a little confused as to what is he attempting to do. Is he trying to save face for what he did, what he said? Is he trying to, is he running soon? That was one of the comments we got. Is when does Councilman Garcia have to run again? Is that coming up? Is he going to be in these next elections? This in March 2026? You know, and that comment made me laugh because it seems about right. You know, an elected official, all of a sudden he's gonna run. He's putting everything out there. Let me put myself on a live. Let me give myself credit where credit really might not be due. Got a couple more comments. Carmen Costilla, I want to know how much he paid to be on the cover of EP Texan with a staged photo being hugged. Yeah, we saw that. I think we could share probably. Let me see if I can get that picture out there, because I think that picture does give you a lot of context, and the context that it gives you, and I'll bridge the gaps for you so you guys can see how exactly a political group can move and use a media, and it doesn't matter the media source, but they could use a media to get across a statement, get across an objective, get across an agenda that they are trying to progress to. And I think that it's disappointing at times when we see these things, because we sometimes we want to believe so bad in our elected officials that we take for granted that maybe we're being tricked. Maybe what they're saying is not the whole truth. And I've been caught in that. I've been caught in that before, where I voted for a councilwoman or former councilwoman because I thought that she was sincerely against corruption. We believe that she wanted to stop the good old boys and girls club at the city of Eagle Pass, and it was unfortunate the way that situation took a turn to the left or right or whatever turn is bad, but ended up ultimately being where she joined into the corruption that was going on at the city at the time. And those are the things that raise an eyebrow, that make you think. And once you know all the players that are connected, because all of these dots do connect, guys, they don't want you to know the dots connect, but the dots do very well much connect. And it's all a shit show. They give you what they think you want to see to earn a vote. And the thing is that you guys are much more intelligent than they give you credit for. And it's relevant enough with the comments that we receive, the phone calls, the text messages, pointing out the hypocrisy that exists within some of these elected officials. Paco Jr. says, "You're more like a news magazine show." News magazine show, okay. Um, a good news magazine show. Eh, Guys, it's like I said, there are rules to distributing information, providing information for the community. You whether you follow those rules, you'll be fine. But when you get to playing um, the optics, when you get to playing the politics of things, I think that that's where it becomes a little bit dangerous. Many of you guys remember when we came out with the Rising Texan, and the reason why the Rising Texan had to be created was because the state of the news media that existed at that time, we're talking about, that was a good while ago, man. It was like 2019, 2020 when we came out with the Rising Texan. So all the new existing news media at the time was very much one-sided. And that's what became a little bit difficult, was that, or I guess what we saw what needed to be done is tell all sides of the story, not just the side that benefits you the most. And I think that that's why the Rising Texan news, when we had it, kind of took off a little bit and became popular, because there was so much of it, so much information that was not been given to the community. And I think that happens still to this day, when you have uh, a councilman out there that is attempting to steal the thunder, is attempting to take credit for, is attempting to, look pretty in front of a camera. This is what we call in the biz a photo op. And I know a lot of you guys know elected officials like, let's throw out one, Congressman Tony Gonzalez, who is a walking photo op. That guy, I don't know a photo op he would be able to resist. I do not know one. The only one was the whole story of his staffer that ended up, um, you know, turning herself on fire. That was a photo op. Obviously, he did not want any part of, and rest in peace, that young lady. I mean, she must have been going through something. there must have been something happening that we don't readily know or we don't publicly know of that caused her to go to those extremes. But see, what I'm getting to is that when it comes to certain elected officials, photo ops do exist. And what's a photo op? A photo op is going to take a picture at the right time so they can look good. Whether they have, even when they don't have involvement in the area that they're at, in this case, it would be the event that happened that was organized by the biker club and by Jorge Maldonado Foundation. They were the ones who got all the players, all the sponsors, all the donations together. Yet you had a situation where the councilman felt he should put himself front and center of this event. Again, many of you guys were a little upset of the situation. I'm trying to pull up right now so I can show you guys the uh, the photo that we were talking about, so you guys know what we're seeing and are aware of what one of the comments was referring to. They were referring to, let's see, what was that comment? How much he paid to be on the cover of EP Texan with a stage photo being hugged. So, again, I don't. A news media has got to do their job, and a news media does their job. Everybody does their jobs differently as news media. Everybody has their specific way of putting out information. Now, I pride myself on what we do here at the Maverick Times, what we did at the with the Rising Texan, is that we are the only investigative type news media journalist. What did Paco call us a news magazine news show, right? I pride ourselves in being different than every single news media or every single platform that puts out information. Is that we do the research, we request records, we do our investigations, we're informative, and we don't keep that knowledge to ourselves. We also do articles to inform the community on how they can participate in doing some of the very same stuff that we do. It's not just because we're in news media we're able to do things like this or do things like that, or we have special access. It's actually the state law, the federal law, that provides us the authority, the legal authority to request certain information from public entities, because at the end of the day, they are using our tax dollars to do some of the things that they are doing. So that's why I feel that it's important to understand those situations. Guys, I emailed this picture to me. I'm just waiting for it to get to my email to share with you. And it's a picture of somebody on Compre Vendo that they shared, and what they brought out was a very revealing thing, and it really has nothing to do with the news media that was commented here by Carmen. They have nothing to do with it. They're doing their job as a news media. But you also have another news media that is very well known for their tactics when it comes to political manipulation, and has been called a political tabloid by more than one elected official that they have targeted in the past. So I'm just waiting here. I guess the internet's running a little slow. What's going on, Spectrum? So I emailed myself the image. It's an image, so it might take a little bit longer than, let's say, a text email. That's understandable. But as soon as we get it in our inbox, because I think it's important to show you guys the context of what people are talking about. And, it brings up a good question. I was talking to a friend and he mentioned, well, what if the whole reason that city councilman Mario Garcia is up in front in a camera, um, coming out pictured next to Superintendent Mijares at the mall as if they're discussing something? What if it's being done because the school district has a bond election that is coming up very soon? Uh, I think we've heard upwards of $100 million bond election that you, the residents, are going to ultimately decide whether they get that bond or not. Um, that was a question that was brought up by somebody I spoke to with today. And, it kind of makes sense. So does the thing where maybe he's trying to save face about how his council meeting went, because guys, it wasn't pretty. I can tell you that it was not pretty. It was not. Uh, it wasn't a good comment. Let's say, and being the fact that Councilman Mario Garcia is also a school district employee, that just puts everything all into perspective. Now, was Mario Garcia talking or speaking as city councilman Mario Garcia, or was he speaking as Eagle Pass Independent School District employee Mario Garcia? And those are two very distinctions, because if you're a parent like me, you want school safety to be number one. There's no reason why any child has to go to a school to get their education in fear they may be shot, stabbed, or hurt. In no way is that normal. And there's no way any student should have to go through a situation like that where they fear for their safety while they're trying to get an education. So it seemed like a bit of a defensive comment, if you ask me, my opinion. And it seems that he was, I don't know, kind of Team Eagle Pass School District, Team Mijares, Superintendent Mijares. It seems like he was talking as a mouthpiece for the superintendent Samuel Mijares to some point. If you agree with that comment, hit me up here in the comments below. Uh, it just seemed that way, and I think that he caught it a little late himself. It kind of played back in his head, and he was like, "Man, maybe I shouldn't have said that." But a political or a cleanup campaign or a damage control, as a term that was told to me, damage control is what it seemed like what followed after that comment at this event. But at what cost did you need to do damage control to where you had to hijack the whole event and make it seem like you were involved from the beginning? That's something that, again, many of you guys reached out, had told us yourselves that that was a little bit hard to stomach. And I get where you guys are coming from, because it was difficult for even me to hear that, because it seems like he put himself out there to get the credit for putting all this together, or for being involved in this situation, where in all honesty, from what we have been hearing from several people, is that he was not involved. He did not donate. I'm not sure if he had any involvement with the biker group, um, or the foundation directly, but we've heard from several people that he kind of just showed up And then, instead of having a live stream on the event itself, have, showcase the event, not even, put the camera in front of any elected official, put the camera in front of the kids, showing what the event's about. That could have been done, right? But unfortunately, that wasn't the situation, with the councilman putting himself front and center so you could see that he was there. It's a difficult situation because you can take that and say, oh wow, I voted for Councilman Garcia, look, he's doing great, I'm glad he was there. But did he tell you his level of involvement? Did he say, I donated this? Oh, I spent last week getting together with this foundation, this biker group, to organize this event? No, he just showed up on the live, wasn't able to discuss much because he wasn't informed about what the inner workings of the event were, or the organization, or the individuals involved. Yet you have people from his own group posting posts saying that he was the one that did it, or bragging about he was the one that did it. Okay. I haven't gotten this picture, but since I brought up that topic, let's go ahead and take a deep dive and show you who I'm talking about real quick. And you'll see why I use the term dumbass earlier, because it was a dumbass, and I'm about to show you this dumbass. Let's see. Let's share. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you see exactly what I'm showing you and what we're talking about. Oh, man. Just straight from the get go. So, many of you people may know Tony, El Feo, El Menso, Rodriguez, whichever nickname you like to call him. And just by that very first picture that's on there, you can see who's with who's team EPISD, who's team Mijares, who's team Mario Garcia, and who is involved with these. Who's the political group? You can clearly see. I mean, this guy's not even trying to hide it, right? It's almost, he's kind of bragging about it, kind of throwing it in your face, kind of saying, "Look, and what? Who cares about what the community thinks?" Uh, at least that's the way I take that. I don't know if you guys take it another way. If you do, go ahead and put it down in the comments so we can show it and be fair and make sure everybody sees your opinions, because that's what this is all about, right? So right away you have this situation, you see that. All right, let's go a little bit down. This is one thing I really want you guys to see. So you have a post saying, everyone out there, I want to recognize Councilman Mario Garcia for doing an outstanding. Okay. Now, remember I mentioned dumbass. Okay. I think I've also said illiterate, also can't put a single sentence together. Now, to me, I think a person of this intelligence, a person of this type of, I don't know, behavior, it should be an embarrassment to any elected official that has this guy supporting him. I'm sorry, I just call it the way it is, right? Now, what's the ironic thing and what's freaking hilarious to me is that This guy is supporting an Eagle Pass Independent School District, right? And he can't even put a coherent sentence together. It's almost, I don't even know what to say, right? It's hilarious. Um, but okay. Uh, and bear with me because some of the stuff that he writes is very difficult to even read out loud. Um, Everyone out there, I want to recognize Councilman Mario Garcia, even tags him, for doing an outstanding WRK. I guess he means work. I don't know who anybody who's done an outstanding work. I don't think that's the proper term, but again, refer back to my comment about the dumbass. Outstanding work with the kids and putting his smile on every child that attend, it's attended the event. Good job, Mario, sir. All right, let's forget that my elementary school children can put better sentences together than this grown ass man. But behind the intent behind this post is to deceive. The intent behind this post is to deceive you, the taxpayers, you, the community. Again, many of you guys that have reached out to us have told us the real situation that, these people, this person was not involved, this councilman did not put any effort to donate, this councilman did not put um, much time into planning or doing anything out of the ordinary to create, to provide, to support this event to begin with. But yet you see his, I guess, think that is his puppets. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what you want to call this guy. I wouldn't call him anything other than ignorant. But they're trying to deceive you. Now, one thing I wanted to show y'all, let's see who actually buys into this stuff. So this was posted 10 hours ago. There was seven reactions. So you got Juan N. Rodriguez, you got Maribel Victoria Lopez, you have Luis Trevino, you have Myra Perez, you have Ruby Cardenas, you have Paco Carmona, and you have Roberto Diaz. Okay. So that's one, two, that's the seven, right? Four, five, six, seven. Yeah. So 7 people in 10 hours react to this. Now, my big thing with that is I wonder if these people are aware of the actual involvement that Mario Garcia had at this event. Again, to my understanding, it was minimal, if any, involvement in planning, donating, coordinating, or supporting this great effort by the Steel Saints, I believe they're called, and also the Jorge Maldonado Foundation. Yet the councilman looks very at ease. I a toda madre, in that event, and that's not even considering that the live that he went to. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you guys is who's involved. We posted something earlier over the weekend saying be on the lookout because people are going to start to reveal themselves as we get closer to the election who they're involved with. Now, you see this character again, El Feo, pictured with the Honorable Judge Abascal, and also pictured with County Judge candidate Mingo Rodriguez. Um, I'm assuming El Feo, El Menso is supporting them. Now the thing is that he's supporting a candidate in Mingo Rodriguez that cannot speak proper English. We shared a video with you guys in the comments, and we'll share it again in a post, maybe later on this week, of an interview that was done as soon as he registered for the position of Maverick County judge. Now, look, everything is fair game, guys. I'm always of the notion that we need good people in our community. We need good community leaders. We need good elected officials, because Eagle Pass and Maverick County has suffered in the past from elected officials that did not take the community, um, or did not want to benefit this community, try to keep this community small, try to keep this community with so minimal amount of resources, that now we want somebody that's able to provide, able to support, able to go talk and secure resources for our community. And I'm talking about the city of Eagle Pass. I'm talking about Maverick County. I'm talking about Eagle Pass Independent School District. I'm talking about the Maverick County Hospital District. I'm talking about, even the Maverick County Water Control and Improvement District. We all need to have somebody in a leadership role that can perform the role, and two, can do it without embarrassing the community. Now, you have the group that's forming here, the political group, and that's the way everything always happens. I'm not sure if you guys have picked up on that. It seems almost before, you used to have these political groups that stuck together for decades back in the day. Now you're seeing, with the trend that's happening in today's politics and the 2020 politics, that what's happening now is that every election cycle, you see these different factions, these different groups breaking up together or separating out. And you know, some of these groups do have good candidates. Some of these groups do not have good candidates. And what I'm saying here in this specific case is that, you know, um, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but do you ever see Mingo Rodriguez at the JP3 office? Because I've already received several comments about him never being in the office. And of course not. He works at the Eagle Pass Independent School District. How would he have time to be at the JP office when he works there? And that's fine. A lot of people do that, but there's a lot of people that still show up at their offices and take care of business. And in this case, from what we're hearing, that's just not the case. Another thing that needs to be said again is the lack of being able to articulate and speak in front of a camera in English. Now, we shared with you that video, and again, we'll share it again, but you can clearly see that there is a lack coming from Mingo Rodriguez about being able to express himself in English. Now, let me tell you, in today's times, a county judge candidate needs to be able to talk to attorneys, needs to be able to talk to state officials, to federal officials, to people that, are in their own able to talk, able to communicate at a high and efficient level. From what we've seen, there is a lack of that. And, look at the guy that's there in the middle of the picture who's supporting a county judge candidate that struggles to communicate. I flip back up. This same guy supports a city councilman that had to show up in an event and make it all about himself. And you can see by this post, they continue to push that agenda. Now, one thing I want you guys to just question in the back of your head is, what agenda are they trying to push? Because I think that that will, in its own, tell you everything you need to know about some of these candidates. Guys, we're still trying to get this image over here to us, and we're not sure why it's not moving along. Let me see. And the email it just said sent. So maybe we'll be getting it right now in a little bit. So yeah, going back to what we were discussing is that there you go. We got it. Okay. Let me set this up for you guys. So, because you guys deserve to know these situations that are happening, because they're happening. And the unfortunate thing about these situations is that they are trying to trick the community. And that's where things are not, it's just not right to trick the community about, especially when it's coming to elections, when we need to know who is who, what is what, and who really wants to do good for our community. It's important to know who you're dealing with. It's important to know who may be the good guy, who may be the bad guys, because we're going to be voting for them, and we want to know and make sure that they are going to provide a service rather than hurt us as a community. And let me share this post that was done. Let me see. Do we have this up? That's not a very good one. Let me see. Let me toss back out here. That's not big enough, right, guys? Let me see. I think I may have selected the incorrect one to share. There you go. This one's a little bit bigger. You know, see that one a little bit better? So I wanted to show you this because, again, I have told you guys that since we are nearing the election cycle, or the next elections, and people and the politics are starting to group together. Now, you have this person telling you why this other news media, and everybody knows this other news media because of their notorious dealings with your taxpayer funds. We already know that they received 60,000 when David Salcedo was the judge in Maverick County. 60,000 of COVID funds that could have gone to the community went to this newspaper, this publication. We know this because we did our investigative research, and we provided you guys with all the receipts you need for that. Now, again, we also provided you guys with the receipts needed. Everything checks out, everything's backed up, of how much funding this news media again was receiving through the Eagle Pass Independent School District, taxpayer funds that you guys are paying for. So this person says, ¿por qué el dueño del latino comentó esto? ¿Será porque le pagan 980 por cada vez que los publica? Con dinero que viene de impuestos le pagaron 100,000 en 3 años, 980 cada publicación. Now, let me ask you guys, how many, in all honesty, in the comments, how many of you guys actually pick up a copy of El Latino to read it? Don't worry, I'll wait. Yet, it's about a circulation, I would say maybe 1,000, maybe. Yet they're getting paid the highest amount. Uh, since we last checked, they're getting paid the highest amount over the Eagle Pass news leader, over the Newsgram, over the Eagle Pass Business Journal, over Eagle Pass Texas News. El Latino gets paid $980, was getting paid $980 per publication. Sometimes this publication got paid 3 weeks out of the four in a month. That's some serious money. Now, this person who posted this, Miss Carmen Costilla, I think we saw her also on a live, here on the live in the comments. She also brought this information out. I actually think that that's the invoice we were able to post. Um, but there's the proof. There's the receipts that everybody always talks about nowadays. That's a popular word, right? Receipts. There it is. Now look at what he says. This is the publisher. Magnifica foto. En especial la niña abrazando a su papá. Algo que muchos políticos locales no entienden por la simple razón que no tienen descendencia. Bendiciones. So if my Spanish is correct, I think this guy's throwing a little mud on one side of the political spectrum and defending another side of the political spectrum. Let me go ahead and zoom in. And that's Mario Garcia, the councilman, with his boss, the superintendent, Samuel Mijares. I pause because I think that you guys need to understand, you guys need to see the dots and how they're connected and who's connected to who, and how maybe a Samuel Mijares candidate, the superintendent, candidates that he supports, like, I don't know, maybe his food service director when he ran for city council, may not be the most excellent choice in our elections. But make no mistake, that is the superintendent, Samuel Mijares. That is his employee, food service director, Mario Garcia, who is also a city councilman. The very same city councilman that questioned what makes us think the Eagle Pass Independent School District wants to work with us when it comes to the safety of our children. Everything is connected, guys. All you have to do is dig a little bit to find out the connection, but it is right there. And you don't even have to go too far. This post tells you everything you need to know, with the publisher down here supporting one side of the political spectrum, throwing shade on the other side of the political spectrum. But it's just very funny the way this post was put. Is That's a legitimate question. Did he make that comment because they were paying him $980 a publication? I know that I'm wondering the same thing. Guys, that's what we needed to show y'all. It's important that we see these things for what they are, that we notice when a public official, an elected official, when a city councilman, in this case Mario Garcia, is attempting to deceive us with his live stream through a social media, where he props himself up and says, or wants you to see that he is at an event, where many of you have said he had no involvement in planning, he had no involvement in donating, and he had no involvement in supporting the Jorge Maldonado Foundation that was the spearhead, along with the biker group club, that put this thing together for our community, for those that are less fortunate in our community. And to take a photo op at that opportunity, I don't know. What do you think, guys? Let us know how you feel about that in the comments. We have a couple of more comments coming in. Lando Fortis, call Leroy after the live, brother. Got some big news. Okay. We might be having some big news. Do I call him while I'm on the live? Would that be fun? Let's see. Rogelio, 980 to publish what? The district has a Facebook page with more viewers than the Latino. Yeah. I would even say that, there's a newspaper called the Newsgram that is considered the general circulation newspaper of our community for how long they have been, in general circulation here at this local community, that probably might be able to pull off that kind of price, but it gets paid much less than the gets paid much less than the Latino does. When, again, I don't see anybody in the comments after I ask the question who actually reads El Latino nowadays. Last comment was from Lando. From what I'm seeing, is he's throwing shade at politicians that don't have a family. Mm. I didn't catch that one. That's a good one, Lando. Okay. I mean, I can't speak for any politician that doesn't have a family. That was a pretty good pickup, Lando. It makes sense what you're saying. Um, I mean, the way I feel about it is that screenshot that we took is very revealing, and I'll leave you guys with this before I close out. That screenshot was very revealing, and it's telling you exactly. Look, I can tell you right now who's going to be advertising for the bond to go through to get voters to vote yes for the bond. I can tell you the Latino is probably going to be the number one person or newspaper to be pushing for the bond. Again, the Latino is probably going to be the number one to be pushing for the Samuel Mijares, the superintendent, for his candidate of choice. As you saw on there in that picture that we shared with you guys, he is sitting with his candidate of choice, his employee, Mario Garcia, the councilman slash food service director of the Eagle Pass Independent School District. They're both there sitting together. Now, how many times do you think that happens a week? Uh, Rogelio Cervantes. So the Latino makes more than substitutes make in 2 weeks in one day. Yeah. Yep. Again, that's what they were making the last time we pulled these records out. We haven't done one since the last time we pulled them out. I think that one said May, right? That may have been at the time when we pulled them out, or we requested this information. And again, this information was very telling. A while back, what we did that from the county when it was David Salcedo was the county judge at the county. You're talking about over 3 years ago, and we were able to show you guys how your COVID funds were being used. $60,000 was given to this publication of your taxpayer COVID funding. Those $10 million that they send to the entity, 60,000 of that was used directly for El Latino, compared to the other ones that got paid much less, being that they have bigger readerships than El Latino does. And here we go again at the Eagle Pass Independent School District, where that post says in 3 years he made over $100,000. Now you tell me, is that the best use of your taxpayer dollars? Political season is coming, and it's coming fast. And these guys are revealing themselves for who they really are. All you have to do is open your eyes and be aware and follow our podcast to make sure you're up to date with all the latest of who's doing what and what officials are doing, how the officials are doing, and what the key players, what is being deceptive, and who you can trust when it comes to being authentic and honest and truthful about what happens in our community here in Eagle Pass and Maverick County. Guys, I want to take this time to ask if you guys can like this. If you haven't already, like it, heart it, put a mad face on it, whatever, put a crying one, doesn't matter, laughing one. It's all the same to us. But one thing we do ask is to please share this. There's a lot of good information here that people need to hear, and it helps us a bunch to get viewed on Facebook when you like and share this podcast. We appreciate it. That's all we have to for tonight. We said we were gonna go more than an hour. We're already getting to two. That's what happens when you have so much information and a lot of participation from the viewers out there. We appreciate the interaction. Thank you very much, guys. This was the Maverick Times podcast, number 006868. We're getting up there, man. We're about to be around the corner from 100, and this couldn't have been done without your support, your confidence in the information that we share, in the news that we share, in the opinions that we have that you guys value. We appreciate it. I do want to thank everybody that reached out to us having to do with this topic. It wasn't a handful of people, it was several people that reached out to us that felt that, something needed to be said. And I absolutely agree. It's a shame that our one of our city councilmen parades himself and takes credit when credit belongs to others. um, it is what it is. Thank you very much, guys. See you on next podcast.